Come on, Bruce. Crossing the bridge to reality. Now I believe today's walk and talk is number 12. So walk and talk number 12. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm sure it is. And today's walk and talk is going to be about politics. But before we go into that wonderful topic, first, a quick update on the elderly lady suffering from skin cancer. The bottled sun and the bottled moon seem to be helping her get rid of the cancer slowly. Let's hope, surely. That's a good thing. Another point I'd like to make at the beginning of this video is I'd like to thank those who have donated to me the last few weeks. They know who they are. Mr. G and Mr. P. Mr. PM. Thanks a lot for your donations. They help me and Bruce to get the supplies that we need. And we're both most thankful. Now, moving on to the topic of politics. Well, I think we all know now, or we should all know by now, that politics is a circus. I don't much like the circus. I don't like following the circus, but it's a circus. And one of the reasons why they gave you politics and they gave you the vote every 4 years is because they realised if they give the people a vote every 4 years, it would prevent a revolt, it would prevent a rebellion, it would prevent people from rising up, because people would be like, oh, it's okay, we've only got this bad stuff going on now for 4 years and then we can change it. And if you hadn't noticed, nothing ever changes. Politics itself, the structure of it is it attracts the psychopathic kind who wants to get to the top, who's power hungry, and it attracts, of course, for that reason, it attracts the worst, the weakest people available. You know, we discovered how many politicians in the UK were paedophiles, for example. I'm sorry, but that's the most abhorrent, one of the most abhorrent, probably the most abhorrent and disgusting criminal act one can do. So you've got left and right wing, and as I've told you in the previous videos, they're the two hemispheres of your brain, left and right side of your brain. And just like Islam and Christianity, just like science and religion, they've got you divided internally and so externally is so. I would say, and this would never happen, but I would say that if you wanted any form of chance of politics working, then there should be in place for anybody serving in public office, especially presidents and prime ministers, who are given the power over the countrymen and women, to take them to war, to make big big decisions for a country, those politicians and should be forced to take a mandatory psychological and psychiatric assessment, because you don't want a psychopath in power. I guess humans haven't learned from the past or their mistakes with all the psychopaths they've had in power. So that's what should be done. Mandatory psychological and psychiatric assessment should be taken by anybody in seat of public office with any form of power, especially heads of state. Now, another thing that should be mandatorily divulged is any person who takes the seat of Prime Minister or President, they should have to disclose publicly all other allegiances that they have with other brotherhoods, secret organisations, if they're in Freemasonic brotherhoods, and or any cult, any secret societies that they are part of, should have to be disclosed to the public, because you can't have a prime minister or a president in power saying that they're delivering for a country when they've taken allegiance to a secret society. That's just, obvious, wouldn't you say? Clearly it's not obvious. The voting system is rigged. Absolutely, 100% rigged. And both sides are controlled by the same people. So, and it's not really presidents or prime ministers who make the decisions, they have advisors. I would say people like Henry Kissinger in America were of a higher level than the president, had more power than the president. It's the people directing the president and the prime ministers. They have all their speeches written for them because their speeches are important to get across their messages secretly. And when I say secretly, hidden, in disguise. They tell you the truth, but it's hidden. Most politicians, like I say, are susceptible to bribes and money and power, and so they're easily controlled, and they are controlled. Most of them in the UK just give them a few little children, put them in Jimmy Savile's circle. The Prime Minister you have now in the UK, I think you're all starting to see now, what is it, Keir Starling, two-tier Starling. I think everyone's starting to see now what a psychopath he is. And he has all the psychopathic traits. He let Jimmy Savile rape and murder children. And now you've got him as the Prime Minister. What do you expect? Anyway, so the destiny of any country is already pre-planned. And what I mean by this is, in the United States, for example, you've got your selection coming up, where you've got a choice between Kamala, by the way, in Spanish is how horrible, or Kamala in Finland, in Finnish is, what was it? Another word that describes horrible, I forget now. Or you've got Trump, the Trump card. Now, it doesn't matter which way you choose, basically. The US is going down. because it's preordained, pre-planned and predestined by the people and the script writers at the top who have written what's going to happen. They build empires and they collapse empires at will when they require. Now, when it comes to choosing Trump or Harris, basically what you're choosing is, how's the country going to fall? How's it going to die? By hanging or drowning? That's your choice, basically. That's the choice the people in the United States have. You have a choice whether you're going to hang or drown. Either way, it's going down, right? And that's how it's always done with all countries and all politicians. They're all controlled. Don't think Putin's any different. They're all part of the game. Believe you me, these people wouldn't have positions of power unless they were in on the game. The whole world's a stage, as Shakespeare said, and it's true. I mean, Trump. You know, let's pull the Trump card. The father of the vaccine. So anybody who's chosen a left or right paradigm politically, you're pretty much already, it's already over for you. There's no help for you. Really, there isn't. Game over. You've been suckered in, and the indoctrination has been successful on you. I've never voted in my life, and I never will. As my late and great friend Alan Watt said, if voting worked, it'd be made illegal. That's Alan Watt from cuttingthroughthematrix.com. Check out his talks, you might learn something. I've never voted. And then people, they come up to me and they say, oh well, if you don't vote, then you have no right to complain. Then you have no right to complain when things go bad or something happens in society that you don't like. And I view it completely differently. I think those who don't vote are the only people who have every right to complain. Why? Well, because I didn't play into the system. I didn't go and place a vote, you know, in the fake fantasy to keep the system going, to keep the fake system going. I have no faith or belief in it, so I basically have removed myself from it, removed myself from the system by not voting. Those who vote, you are the people who have absolutely no right to complain. Because you're still putting yourself forward as to be part of the system. It's like a football match, really. I mean, America's just a joke, really, now, isn't it? Some politicians, by the way, like some versions of Biden that you've seen on the TV or on videos in interviews, most of those are not even Biden. Are not even Joe Biden. They're using very, very high level technology now to and sitting basically robots. Robots or masked people with masks on. If you don't believe the mask technology is available, there's another video out there that shows a woman who was the head of the CIA. She was the head of the CIA, a particular unit, the unit which deals with concealing people, concealment. And she, in the 80s, went into, late 80s I believe, went into, maybe the early 80s. It was while George Bush Sr. was in office, and she went into the office and she's a white woman, and she went in there with a mask on as an African American, and took the mask off in front of George Bush, and he couldn't believe it. He'd been tricked by a mask back then. So if you don't think they've got that technology, go back to sleep. Their technology is phenomenal. They've got that and a lot more. So yeah, your politics is a joke. Your voting in an electoral system has been given to you to stop you from rising up. And what a flipping good job it's done. And how true is that? That they got the perfect, like every 4 years, that would be the perfect length for time. Any more and people might revolt. So, I mean, look at the American people. Kept in check. They don't even know if their vote was real last time. Or rigged. Well, it was obviously rigged. It's all rigged. And it didn't matter who you chose to go in. But, of course, the people at the top, they have their preferred selection. You know. Oh man, you've got Biden walking around and people believe in politics, and has been walking around as the President of the United States for the last 4 years, and people believe in politics. You know, you look at the world, you look at the level of indoctrination on people, and it becomes a point where you don't feel sorry for them anymore. It comes a point where you're just like, something's got to give here. There's so many poisoned, mentally incapacitated people out there that are of no use to this realm whatsoever. And you don't look at them and pity them and go, oh, poor things. You look at them and you can't wait for them to be rubbed off this realm. Because it's pathetic how stupid people are. It's really bloody pathetic. Yeah, I suppose it's not all their fault. You know, as Bertrand Russell wrote in the books Impact of Science on Society, using diet injections and injunctions, they will form the type of person that they seem desirable for their system. A kind of person that's incapable of thinking for themselves, or respond, or retaliating, or questioning. Here's my beauties again. You hear them? They hear me and Bruce come in and they start talking. Woo, woo, woo. So yeah, I think that's about all I have to say on politics, I guess. I can't think of anything else I'd like to say. I think I've said it all. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. Government. The word. Governo. To govern. Mente. Mente. The mind. Govern the mind. I'm not going to go, I didn't talk about the whatever crap that those assassination attempts on Trump were, but I can tell you this. Those are orchestrated at one level or another. And some things we'll never know for sure, but some things are quite obvious. And that's coming from somebody who used to protect politicians. Right. So I think we'll leave it there. And Bruce has gone off for some food in there, I think. Come on, say goodbye. Say goodbye, Bruce. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Be blessed. Be kind. Come on then, let's go. Come on then.